Test mic 1 2. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. A very good morning to everyone. Before we proceed to our program proper, let us recite Surah Al-Fatiha. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with His barakah and ease our program for today. Inshallah. Al-Fatiha.
A warm welcome to all our guests and participants. Thank you for waking up early on a Sunday morning and joining us today at Masjid Darul Ghufran for our SunDATE event featuring the topic of building resilience, family resilience from the inside out. I'm Dr. Fairuz, I'm from KK Hospital. This is...
I'm Mr. Stajuddin, Master Trainer for Project ARIF. and we will be your MC for today, inshallah. So, coming to the screen, project outline. Yeah, the project outline for the screen. Okay, inshallah for today we'll be having multiple programs that we can see in our screen today before our dialogue session. We would like to apologize that the projector is currently down, so we will be flashing everything on the screen, and if those who are unable to see the screen, you can actually download the slides via the QR code during the registration just now.
Today's sessions will take us through early stages of family life, from marriage to parenthood, and we'll explore how biological, psychological, social, and spiritual aspects help shape our journey as families.
Yeah, it's also about understanding, it's about building a family, and just not about the people, but also the meaning, the connection, and also the resilience that drives us together. For those who are new, Project ARIF is actually a pilot program by Temasek Foundation with the support of KKH Hospital, AMP, and also MOIS. Its core foundation is actually based on medical, social, and also religious components that support couples and family through education, guidance, and also programs that aim to achieve the ARIF in Project ARIF, which stands for Achieving Resilience and also Inspiring Family. You can also check out our refresh website of Project ARIF at projectarif.sg, inshallah. So Dr. Fairuz, when we talk about resilience, inshallah, so what can you actually share with us when we talk about resilience in the medical perspective?
So I think there are many examples that we have seen before of patients who exhibit tremendous resilience in my experience, yeah. As simple as persons experiencing abnormal bleeding post-delivery and having to deal with that and encountering, whether this is due to bleeding post-delivery or bleeding as a result of contraceptives. So they go through a lot of difficulties during this time, and they will share with us their difficulties, their struggles, and we try and see what else we can do to help them overcome this difficulty. And they're still here with us, so it's very, very heartening to see that. Okay. There are other couples who have difficulties getting pregnant, for example, and this is, there's a couple of mine who had both her fallopian tubes removed because of ectopic pregnancies, and she had to go through, IVF because that's the only other way for pregnancy, and alhamdulillah, now she's in the last trimester of her pregnancy, and she's doing really, really well.
For you yourself, do you have to actually express resilience to your patients? Kadang-kadang patients ni, there's a lot of flavors and colors lah. Do you need to actually, for yourself, do you have to actually express resilience to them? I mean,
yeah, definitely. I think as medical professionals, resilience is built in us, or we have to build that up along the way, just as you understand how unpredictable labor is, right? Waking up at 2 a.m. to conduct a delivery, you need some resilience for that, right? So, alhamdulillah, with all the training and experience, we
wake up at 2 a.m. Not for tahajjud, but to deliver.
Inshallah. All right. After that. How about yourself, Ustaz? In the Islamic or religious perspective, how would you, describe resilience?
When I think about resilience, I remember about this hadith by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he mentions that patient is at the first strike of a calamity. Yeah, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually repeat the sentence twice. Patient is at the first strike of calamity. So when we talk about resilience, it's not really far away from patience or sabar. It's not really far away. We need to have sabar. We have some kind of resilience. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually teaches us what is actually the meaning of patience. Okay, so basically, it's not about calming down. And patience it's not about calming down after you retaliated. You argue with your spouse, you've given your peace already for the last 10 minutes. Suddenly you calm down, you describe that as sabar. No. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us that it's actually at the first strike, the first time you respond. That means you need to be aware of the situation, you need to process the situation, you need to think what you want to respond before you respond. That is sabar. Sabar is not like the aftermath of an argument. It's actually the first time you need the first time that you respond is actually the best response that you can give at the current situation. That is sabar. So I think there are many things about sabar that we actually can learn about when it comes to resilience. But yeah, resilience and sabar, it's something that is together hand in hand, inshallah. Right? And also for marriage, of course, marriage is not free from conflicts. Marriage is not free from arguments. It is everyone wants their marriage to last forever. Yeah. So this is actually part and parcel of having or being in a marriage life, and being resilient, being sabar is very important in your marriage, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So we're gonna move on to the next segment. Yeah. Okay. So to officially open today's session, we are very honored to invite Ustaz Ahmad Khushairi in his new role as the Deputy Registrar of the ROMM to deliver the opening remarks for today. Can we invite Ustaz Ahmad, please?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Alhamdulillah. Everyone dah taken your breakfast? Dah belum? Dah, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, and an honor for me. In fact, it's a meaningful moment for me today because I started my first job actually at Darul Ghufran for 18 years. Then I continue at Project ARIF. And this Project ARIF initiative was part of me in my life in taking this new role at ROMM as Deputy Registrar. So let me start with my script lah, or else an ustaz or ustazah kalau ada mic dia habis settle tau, not 5 minutes, maybe an hour. So to be fair to the organizer, thank you so much. Hopefully I got these numbers right. So in just 5 years, Project ARIF actually exported over 3,000 couples, alhamdulillah, across Singapore, journeying with them through the early years of marriage, before marriage itself, during face-to-face session, and after marriage, during the parenthood. It brings together the medical, social, and spiritual with the Hadi religious support to ensure that couples receive holistic guidance at every stage of life, from pregnancy to parenting, from communication to conflict management. With 16 ARIF mosques, island-wide, and active involvement of 25 NEP Kadis, so we have like almost 40, but more than half of NEP Kadis supported in terms of really share this Project ARIF initiative with the rest and involve directly like today's program, like today got Ustaz Syafa'at from Darul Ghufran. And this program has conducted over 400 programs reaching more than 14,000 participants, mashallah. So behind these numbers are real families, real journeys, and real transformations, of course. And I would like to share my personal experience when I solemnize met couples, and this really stay close to my heart because these couples got married after 2 years. Then things started well, but soon they face major challenges, such as emotional distance, misunderstandings, stresses, different expectations, especially when these couples dikurniakan anak. In fact, if ask all of us, kurniakan anak is a blessing, right? But of course, orang katakan apa? The neighborhood friends, our neighborhood family superhero kata apa? With great powers comes with responsibility kan? To Spider-Man But for us, of course, Allah SWT give us the gift for us to take care with quality. But then, of course, come with a test. And this, at this critical moment, this couple, when it happened to them, they reached a point of applying to divorce. Because me, myself, the last 3 years, I was part of the Project ARIF, at the same time a counselor of the Sharia Court because alhamdulillah blessed with that qualifications. So I know some of the couples, my couples, went through that. It was at this critical moment that Project ARIF network stopped and stepped in. The medical social worker first met the wife, who was quietly battling depression. Through that connection, the couple was referred for deeper support. And I personally met the husband using the Naib Khadi hands as we established relationship with them in prior to the marriage itself via face-to-face session. And together we as a ARIF team, we worked together with them on marital expectation and emotional needs. Slowly they began to communicate again, this time with honesty and patience. And over time, they attended some of our programs like Village, a parenting program, SunDATE, a Saturday with Arif like today, and even participated. I engaged with them. They shared with me, they participate in the community-based programs, such as whichever that MSF conducted and offering to them. So we understand it wasn't an overnight change, but through consistent guidance, professional help, and their willingness to reach out, they rebuilt their true and love again. And today, and they are still with me, they are still together, not perfect, but inshallah, alhamdulillah, stronger. They learn that resilience is not about avoiding hardship, but about seeking help, learning, and growing together. This story reminds me as well, and remind us that no couple should feel alone. And my principle, you never alone. But when we reach out to ARIF, to counselors, to community programs, we are choosing not to give up, but to build again. Next is actually, I would like to use this opportunity to express my deepest appreciation to who keeps this project ARIF alive. I would like to especially mention the doctors, Dr. Fairuz, today like multiple roles, become an MC, doctors kalau kat KKH is like a special person, everybody want to meet him must have an appointment. Today is an MC, mashallah, very humble. Dr. Dilshah, mashallah, continues to learn her expertise. The nurses Shakira, Nazima, the ARIF team, such as Fatin, the medical social workers Zakia, Siti, Abida, and not to forget my partners in crime, Ustaz Tajuddin. So now, after I left the Project ARIF, he was the one who need to continue this, to carry the torch forward. Now all the more staff as well who serve on the ground. And of course, special mention to the one who lead us, Dr. Suzana and Dr. Dr. Adila, whose warm leadership and unwavering commitment have guided many of us in bridging healthcare, faith, and family life. For me, as a ARIF staff, is full-time staff. For them, mashallah, is volunteer. Really, is volunteering in leading this project because they meant well. They really would like to see the community, Muslim community, to move forward with the foundation that we are embedded as a Muslims, inshallah. And so, inshallah, as they continue, I also continue at a different space, inshallah, at ROMM, because we build strong and lasting marriage. For at ROM, we see strong marriage is not at the point, but at the beginning of the work, inshallah. And the real work begins after the akad nikah, inshallah. So as we reflect lastly from today's topic, we reflect together building family resilience from the inside out. So which means let us remember that resilience begins with an intention. I think one of the hadith, familiar to everyone, innamal a'malu binniyat. Everything comes with intention. When you start your marriage, of course with intention. When after you go to this marriage, in the midst of your marriage itself, it's still you can tajdid and niyat. You renew your intention because we will be distracted with a lot of distractions out there. And lagi-lagi because of the social media, we feel that with that whatever reels, tips we gotten from the social media, we feel that we are already strengthened. But actually we are human beings. We need that emotional support. And this emotional support, we need real people. We need real expertise. We need real support group to be with us together. Inshallah, may Allah SWT bless us. May Allah SWT bless the team And insyaAllah dikurniakan every one of us here with sakinah, mawaddah, and rahmah insyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ustaz Ahmad. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, when you're with Project ARIF, you'll never walk alone. Okay, so it's true. I'm not a Liverpool supporter, by the way. We'll move on to our next activity of the day, which will involve everyone here. It'll be a little bit teaching you about resilience, yeah?
So basically the next session is our first activity for today. This session will involve everyone, as mentioned by Dr. Fairuz, led by our medical social workers and nurses, where we will explore together what resilience truly about within this activity, inshallah. So let's participate actively, reflect, and also enjoy the process, inshallah. For those who are watching online, we have people who are actually watching online today. We apologize that you are not able to participate in this event. We will be back with the next segment in 11:10 a.m. for the panel dialogue. So with this, I invite Sister Abida to lead the session of this mass activity.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. So yeah, before we dive into the family resilience topic, so I would like to have a quick and interactive activity. So as mentioned, there will be like two activities. So one is about the introduction to family resilience, and the other one will be the mass activity. So just to let the Okay, so just to let the people watching online at home, you can also participate in this activity because we're going to use Slido. Okay, so I need you all to scan the QR code and join this Slido. Okay, so I had love to hear what comes to your mind when you think about that phrase, family resilience. So do type in one word or phrase that resonates well with you when you hear this family resilience. What comes to your mind? Do not overthink, okay? Yeah, just type whatever that comes to your mind. It could be a value, a feeling, or even an image that represents family resilience. All right, wow. Seems like we can see some words popping up in the word cloud already. Stay strong together as a family, understanding, united, communication, patience. Yeah, so all these reflects what family resilience to some of us or most of us here. Okay. And if you can see, like patience, communication, strength, these words seem to appear bigger and bigger. So what does that mean? Okay, so it means that most of us here, we share similar values, okay? Even though that we have our own family and strength within us, right? Because each family is unique and each family has their own strength and also how they bounce back through, challenges, struggles and all that. Okay? Yep. And then, so do we have any more coming in? Okay. Yeah. So what we can rule out from all these words that we see, right? So it also shows that, when we face with challenges or struggles in our family, we don't run away from the problem. We don't avoid the problem, but instead we stay connected, we adapt to the current challenges, okay? And we also overcome it together. Through what platform? Through talking out, okay, through communicate with one another, and being resilient means that, you bounce back from the challenges, okay, and then that's how you stay strong together, okay, and also continue to thrive in your family setting, okay. For example, if a family with one or two kids, you know that there's a change in your role. from being husband and wife, and then you change your role to being mother and father to your own children, right? Yeah, and you know that there's additional responsibilities, roles and tasks that you have to take on, right? So there could be some adjustment or some expectations that you may have towards your spouse, towards probably a wife may have, some expectations for the husband to take care of the baby because the mom need to rest, right? And probably father is also busy working. So sometimes when father come back home, after a long day at work, you might be tired and you just need to rest, right? But you know that you have a wife and child at home to take care. So this is what we talk about, giving and take, being tolerant to one another. And strong families, they may bend, but they never break. Okay, so as I end my session, it's a very quick and brief session because our mass activity will require more time lah. Okay, so I will pass over to my another colleague, MSWCT, to continue with the mass activity. So people watching online, please stay tuned because the mass activity actually you can also participate. All right? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Abida. Okay, so my name is Siti. I'm the medical social worker from Project ARIF. I have two of my colleagues here from Project ARIF as well. Some of you may probably know my nurses. We have nurse Shakira and we have nurse Nazima lah. Okay, so we just want to, before we begin today's sharing with our panel of speakers, we just want like to start with a short reflection activity which will help us think about what resilience really looks like in your family, especially when you are navigating these early years of marriage and parenthood. Definitely, we will face many transitions and changes. So that we just want to talk a bit about resilience. Okay, so today we will use something simple. Inside your goodie bag, if it's not too inconvenient, we actually provide like a rubber band and a paper clip. So if you do not have goodie bag, just do the activity together with your spouse or your family members. Okay, if not, just imagine holding a rubber band. So for those watching at home, you can partake in this activity as we go along. Okay, so this small rubber band, sorry, it's a bit tight the packaging. Okay, so just one paper clip and one rubber band. Okay, so just by looking at this rubber band, what does this rubber band represent us? Any takers? Yes, okay, so this rubber band represents our flexibility, our strength, and also our ability to adapt. But like us, the rubber band can also stretch, gets tangled, gets knotted. But if you notice, it rarely breaks, right? It's hard to break a rubber band. Okay, so I think we just want to use the rubber band as a metaphor to show that what resilience looks like in your family. So as we go through this activity, I hope you all can just recall the tough times that you all experience with your family. As you starting out, your marriage or your parenthood, and how your family manages your health and the well-being of every family members, from the spiritual, from the physical, and from the emotional aspects. Okay. So when you stretch the rubber band, right? Okay, you can feel that pull, right? That tension. So what does that tension represent? Okay, so it's actually in my slide. So the tension is how our bodies react to stress, just like the rubber band. Okay, so when we face change or stress, our bodies and emotions also stretch like the rubber band. So we might feel it through muscle tightness, tiredness, headaches, poor sleep. So all these are physical manifestations of stress. Okay, so maybe you can recall some like those times when your families have to stretch during these early years of family life. So some examples that I can give is when you are newlyweds, you are adjusting to your marriage routines. When you just give birth, you have to adapt and recover during the postnatal period. And then when you have a newborn, sleepless nights. And then when you have to go back to work, or maybe you have to take care of your elderly parents or in-laws. So all these changes will affect both the physical as well as the emotional health of the individual. Okay, so the next. Okay, so stress isn't just physical, it also affects communication and connection. So sometimes it's not the body that just gets tired, your, your heart also gets tired. So we may start being angry with each other, easily snap at each other, feeling guilty for not being the best mother that you feel that you can be, or even like, you can even withdraw or make yourself isolated from the rest. So that is a sign that our emotional capacity is feeling the strain, just like the rubber band. Okay? So what are some ways that you can help yourself to care for your body and your mind? So one of the ways is to create small moments of pause. So very simple activity, just step away from that stressful situation, do a bit of mindful breathing for a few minutes, or maybe take a short walk just to ground yourself, to anchor yourself, and then even with your partner, just be open, be honest about your feelings. I think all these simple check-ins, just a simple deep breath, just a simple taking a short walk, these small pauses will help you bounce back a little easier from whatever that you are facing, from whatever things that feel very overwhelming at that point in time. Okay? So what we want to reinforce is that resilience is not about never not feeling stretched. Feeling stretched is very normal. Okay? But what resilience is all about is to care for yourself while also caring for your loved ones. Okay? All right. So maybe in the next few minutes, I would like everyone to reset and maybe allow yourself to have this mindfulness moment. We will practice a bit on mindful breathing. So something you can take home, whenever you feel stressed or overwhelmed, like maybe just your mother at home alone with newborn, just go to one corner. Maybe you can do this mindful breathing just to help you calm down your nerves lah. Okay? So basically, we'll just do a 4-6 breathing technique. You have your rubber band, right? So just gently stretch the rubber band, feel the tension. Okay, so as you inhale for 4 seconds, be present with whatever you're feeling. You can feel your chest and your shoulder expand. And then when you hold your breath for 2 seconds, just notice the stillness around you. And then take a long exhale. Then when you exhale, you release the rubber band. So you imagine you let go of the tension. Okay? So maybe we will do 2 rounds of this. Anybody who's holding the rubber band, you can just use the rubber band lah. Okay? So all these things is called a micro pause lah. The inhale, the hold, the exhale. You are giving yourself a micro pause, which is a mindful check-in that help us respond calmly instead of being reactive. Sometimes we get reactive. We never think when we act. So I think this mindful check-in will help us to calm down and we are able to be rational and objective in our responses. Okay? So maybe we'll do 2 rounds of the mindful breathing. So let's start. Hold your rubber band, gently stretch it. Okay, let's inhale 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, hold your breath 2 seconds. 1, 2. And then finally, a long exhale. You release the rubber band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's do another round. Inhale, 4 seconds. And try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath 2 seconds. 1, 2. And then let out a long exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you all feel at least a bit calmer. Okay, you can try at home lah. Maybe the noises. Okay, but just notice how your body feels when the band is released. So that's your reminder that tension doesn't last forever. We can stretch, but we can also breathe and we can also recover. Okay, so next I will hand over to my colleague Nurse Shakira, who will go over the knots in the rubber band.
Hello everyone. So as a lactation consultant, I've had the privilege of supporting many parents on their parenting journey. So today I want to talk to you about the challenges that we face and how we can build resilience to overcome them. So first let us tie a knot. So you have your rubber bands in your hand. Try and tie a knot with it. Okay, so like the knots that you are tying, Parenting will come with many unexpected twists and turns. Okay, as new parents, you may face many challenges. Embracing your new role can be overwhelming. Feeding struggles can be frustrating. Your relationship with your partner will need to adjust. And the fear of the unknown may be daunting. And let's not forget mom and dad guilt. It's real. If you notice, I left one not empty because I would like all of you to take a moment now to think about your own parenting journey. Think about the first or worst challenge that you have had to overcome. Okay, so just take a moment now to think about it. So here's the thing, these challenges, they don't define us, they shape us. These knots, they remind us to care for ourselves, especially during challenging times. So here are some key steps that can help you through it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's a family member, a friend, or a professional, having a support system can make all the difference. Joining us in Project ARIF can actually be your first step to take in adopting a help-seeking behavior. Make time for yourself, even if it's just a few minutes a day. Go for a walk, read a book, or you can even try the simple mindfulness exercise that Siti just shared with you. Me time is essential for your mental health. Be flexible with your expectations and goals. Parenting is unpredictable and things don't always go as planned. Sometimes you just have to go with it. But remember, you're not alone. Communicate with your partner, family, or friend. Work together to support each other. As part of the Project ARIF team, I have had the opportunity to meet many resilient and inspiring parents. I recently spoke to a young mother during our regular Zoom check-in. And she shared with me that she had successfully breastfed her baby despite having to return to work as a Grab delivery rider. She found a pumping routine that suited her work and also allowed her time to send and fetch her child to infant care. She faced many challenges, but she didn't let these knots break her. Every knot tells a story of resilience. Just like the rubber band, we may be changed by our experiences, but we are not broken. So when you encounter a knot, remember that you're building resilience, you're developing the strength and character to navigate the ups and downs of parenthood. My colleague Nazima will now bring you through the importance of joining these bands together.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Okay, so following the joining of the rubber bands, right? So basically joining the bands together represent how individuals, when connected, become stronger and more resilient collectively rather than standing alone. So inside your care pack, right, the goodie bag, you actually have a pen, paper clip. So you use that paper clip to join through the rubber band. Okay, if you can do so. Okay, so interconnected bands symbolize teamwork, cooperation, and also mutual support. And this reflects the idea that it actually takes a village to achieve success and outcome challenges. So single band, as you can see, can easily snap off. Okay, so if group of individualized bands which you connect together, and when you stretch, can actually endure this snap. Okay. So this activity also reminds us that we don't function effectively in isolation. And instead, working together builds strength, adaptability, and unity within a team or community in the family. So in ARIF, right, so basically we do a check-in with our couples to assess their journey in parenthood. So based on what we hear during the session, there are struggles actually coming from the mothers having, to cope in their new role in parenting, and also, having to maybe handle housework. Okay, so all this wouldn't be achieved without the presence of the spouse. So what we can see here is actually a teamwork. They actually works together to make sure that we come to a common goal. Okay, so for collective resilience, right? Okay, so as a nurse, a pediatric nurse working in the ward, so when we have, like children when they're sick, they're usually brought in by the parents. Okay, so having a sick child already is stressful enough. So having to manage 24/7, we can't have both parents to stay. So overnight, we have either one of parents allowed to stay. Okay, so the following day, for instance, if let's say the mother stays overnight, tomorrow in the day, the father takes over. So we actually see that there's teamwork here, like having to juggle each responsibility, so also supporting one another. So this goes along until the child recovers and fit for discharge. So when the child is fit for discharge, right, actually they start to think, let's have some small celebration. Okay, let's go to places where we wanted to go, okay? While baby is sick or what, we can't go, so let's achieve this. So we have a common goal in this. Okay, so to summarize, family strength grows through unity and togetherness. So it actually reminds us that the support from each and other of us is actually crucial, and no one actually thrives alone. So now I'm going to pass to Siti to have a closure for this activity. Thank you.
Okay, so as per what Nurse Nazima has mentioned, I think all of us, even as couples, we should be connected to one another so that they can form like, a support network like a village. So see ARIF as also a village, as part of a village, as that second layer of support. So we are here to support you in your early years of marriage. If you all have not heard of ARIF, you can approach us after the event. But if you all are existing couples, we are very grateful for your support, and and we are very humbled to journey to be able to be part of your journey. Okay, so what the three of us have reflected today is, the stretching, the knots, and the connectedness. So all these capture the heart of what today's session is all about, which is about family resilience and family well-being. So next, we're going to have our speakers, which is our doctors, Ustad Mizi, and our social worker. They will help us to explore this more deeply, how caring for maternal and child health, how nurturing emotional well-being, and also drawing strength from our faith will contribute to a resilient and thriving family. So hope you all have a beneficial session later. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Siti, thank you, Shakira and Nazima. Actually, we have a bit of time. We can if we can have a little bio break. The washrooms are outside for guests and participants who need to use the washroom. I think go ahead and do that before we move on to our next segment. Okay.
So for the changing room for babies or children, it will be at level 2, inshallah.
So we'll see you back in about 2 minutes.
Project ARIF, which is medical, social, and also religious aspects that build resilience.
As the speakers will be on stage later on, along the way, if you guys have questions to ask, feel free to raise your hands. We'll be around to pass you the mic. That's one way of asking questions. Another way is through the QR code for Padlet. So the Padlet is open, so you can ask questions along the way. Our panel of experts, we have Dr. Nur Adila Ahmad Atib. She's a consultant with the General Pediatric Service from KKH Hospital.
Siti Nurzakia binti Zaran, Senior Medical Social Worker for KKH Hospital.
We also have our special guest, Ustaz Muhammad Tarmizi Abdul Wahid, President of Pergas, who's managed to come from a nikah engagement earlier. So, Alhamdulillah.
And this program or this session will be moderated by Dr. Dilshad binti Muhammad Abdul Qadir, Associate Consultant, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, KKH Hospital.
Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for having us. So, based on a survey that was conducted by MSF in 2023, actually 86% of families reported moderate to high family resilience scores. And the majority of those who were surveyed said that they had close-knit family and they were able to maintain close ties with family members that were outside of their immediate families. And we know that families who are close-knit and resilient are better able to overcome the challenges. But actually, today we wanted to discuss, not just with the audience, but everyone at home as well, what exactly does resilience mean? Zakia, what do you think?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, everyone. Sunday morning, mashallah. Wow, it's nice to be here. Sunday, Ustaz. Okay. Yes. Okay. Also on what Dr. Dishak mentioned just now. So according to MSF, like 8 out of 10 families are considered as resilient in Singapore. Looking at this, a lot of families are actually resilient. That's why they're here, perhaps. Okay, but perhaps we want to be more resilient, in case that we want to prepare ourselves, inshallah, for our future. So, what does resilient really mean? Just now, my colleague, fellow MSW as well as nurses, had already illustrated to you what does resilient mean exactly. So, family resilience, what does family resilience mean? So according to this Proma Walsh, okay, from this her seminal paper, The Concept of Family Resilience, she said that it is about bouncing back. Like just now, Ustaz quoted hadith, right? When he looked at the word resilient, he's reminded of the hadith. I'm not an Ustazah, so when I look at the word resilient, I'm reminded of a song. Have you heard of this song from Chumbawamba? Remember. I'm a 90s kid, so remember, I get knocked down and I get up again, right? So basically, in a nutshell, that's what resilience is about. When you got knocked down by life, by challenges, by someone, by some people, you get up again. Easy or not to get up again? You got down, you got hurt. Your ego is bruised. Your face maybe got knocked down, maybe bruised also, but then you don't stay there, but you decided you want to push yourself up and then you get up again. But that is resilient in a nutshell. But for family resilience means that the whole family has the capacity to respond positively to the challenges and to rebound from the stress. Using what? Using internal strength and external resources. Meaning that the family made up of individuals, right? So the individuals in the family has to be resilient also in the first place. Means not only the mommy and daddy has to be resilient, the children also has to be resilient. Yeah, so that's what makes a family resilient, inshallah. So I think we're going to discuss more later, right? Yeah.
Thank you. I agree, Zakia. It's not just one person, but the collectiveness of it. And Adila, what do you think? How does health contribute to resilience? Does it?
Assalamualaikum everyone. So of course my role here, being a pediatrician, is to share with you how we can help to build a generation of healthy children who are resilient at the same time. Okay. Okay, so when we, personally, I feel health is one of the cornerstones of building a resilient family. And it's not just about your physical condition, but also your mental strength, how you are able to withstand and adapt to stress and to changes. And there's a lot of focus on the mental health of our youth, our teenagers, the older children. But did you know that there's such a concept as infant mental health? Even the baby has mental health. So this is something I want to explore and share a bit later on in our conversation. So the question is, how do we build this generation, right? Of resilient families? So we need to start with the right foundation. And the right foundation means we need to leverage on, this is one of my head topics, Dr. Dishak mentioned this before. I've emphasized on this many times in my last 5 years as part of Project ARIF, because I feel this is really very important. The first 1,000 days of life, what is it? So this is the period when the fetus is first formed in the womb, when you first find out you're pregnant, until the baby reaches the age of 2 years old. And why is this period so special? It's like a human window of opportunity. If you can see my slides, right? This is when the brain development is at the foundational stage, and it's the period when the brain is growing the most rapidly. You can see the figure that I drew here. So more than 1 million plus new brain connections are formed per second in the first year of the child's life. And this is also the period when the brain has the highest plasticity. What does plasticity mean? It means that it's able to adapt and change to any stimulus. So this is just like the rubber band activity we did just now. How much can the brain stretch and adapt positively and bounce back rather than snap or break? Okay, so the next thing, of course, is my 100 days spiel, is how do we maximize these first 1,000 days? So, sorry, not 100 days, 1,000 days. So if you see this infographic here, you can see that there are a few components that we need to think about when we want to nurture our children to the best of our ability. So, of course, having good health, right? And good health means that you start from pregnancy, looking after yourself, and then be in optimal health to look after the baby. Bringing the baby for well baby checks, okay, not to be afraid of things like childhood vaccinations, because these help us prevent diseases that are easily preventable actually. And then talking about having good nutrition, so not only for mom, as you start to have the baby in your life, think about breastfeeding for the first 6 months as far as possible, and continuing to breastfeed like what is stated in Al-Quran, right? It's for up to 2 years, in fact, while giving the baby the best kind of nutrition that you can. And also having opportunities for the baby to learn, to try, to explore, being responsive caregivers. So what does this mean? This means that we need to nurture that social emotional bonding. And this I will elaborate again later on. And having safety and security for the child. So in a nutshell, this is how we want to actually maximize the early years, but don't stop at 2 years old. Okay, this is the foundation. This is how to set yourself on the right path to nurture your child. And beyond that, as the child goes into toddlerhood, preschool, primary school, and so on, continue on these aspects of nurturing child.
Thank you, Dr. Adila. So I think this blueprint is very helpful. It seems like just simple 5 steps, but there's a lot more that we put in to raise our children. And I think understanding how important the first years, and I love actually when Dr. Adila does this, because I find that this is very important and it's good to share that it starts not just when the child is born, but even prior. So thank you for sharing that. I think when kids come in play, there's a lot of things that change, right? And relationships definitely change with the spouse, then that with the new child, the first child with the second child. There's a lot of change and a lot of relationship struggles that we might go through. Some families go through it very seemingly seamlessly, although not always, right? It's like a duck, I feel. Above water seems like nothing's going on, but there's actually a lot of activity underwater. Zakia, what do you think? What about relationships and being resilient in a relationship? Do you think this is something we should talk about more? What do you think?
From what Dr. Adila mentioned, I mean, being a new parent, it's a lot of work. I mean, there's so many things that you need to think about, not only making sure that the child is alive, making sure that the child is alive and having potentially quality life as well. right? And also on top of that, thinking about the future of the child, thinking about the future of the family. There's so many tasks, so many things to consider and think about. So, so what's the foundation then? To be resilient also means that you need to know what are the challenges ahead lah, right? So most of you at the moment, you are just starting out your family, having newborn, means that the challenges at the moment is starting out life as a family. You're still growing your family. So the challenge is finances, stability, still adjusting, right? You're still adjusting life as couple, adjusting life as mommy and daddy as well. So there's so many things going on. So and as all these things, all these tasks are going on, the foundation, what actually moves these things, what actually enable you to continue being able to do all these tasks is really your relationship, yeah, the couple relationship. So strong relationship is the foundation. However, foundation is usually quite difficult to build when there's crisis and when there's adversity, right? Imagine, I mean, how can you build something stable and strong when they're in the middle of storm, in the middle of typhoon? It's quite difficult because when typhoon and storms are happening, what's your mood? Is your mood building something? You're surviving. You're trying to protect yourself, right? So now at the moment when things are going okay, inshallah, when things are stable, this is the time when you firm up, you build up your foundation. Okay?
So nice to hear crying babies. I know the parents don't think that, but yeah, nice that you brought, a lot of you brought your children here. We appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Zakia.
Earlier, we actually thought that Ustaz would be late because he had a wedding. But yeah, so he's right here.
So let's, Ustaz, what, we'll let you chime in. What about spiritual resilience? How do you think we can incorporate that into our relationships, into family, etc.?
Banyakkan beristighfar je. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I think this is a really good event, good program. Congrats, Dr. Susanna, Dr. Adila, and team. When I was expecting, some women get really angry when the husband says, "We are pregnant." You're not pregnant. I'm pregnant. My wife and I, we were expecting in 2010, I think. There wasn't any programs like this. So we were pretty much on our own. Of course, family support was always there, but you will quickly learn that family support can sometimes come with very noble intentions, but it leads you to become very confused as well. Because you hear so many versions of what you need to do, how to support each other, how to prepare the child's arrival, and so on and so forth. But let me just rewind a little bit. Are there people here who are not yet expecting a child? Yeah. Okay, so let's start from there. Because yes, there are some babies here, and there are some who are expecting. There's some of my former staff, she came, alhamdulillah, expecting. And then there are also people who are not yet. So spiritually, I remembered when my wife and I, we actually struggled because we got married in 2008. So we only, found out that we were expecting after around 2.5 years. So during that moment, it was starting to affect us in some ways, right? Especially when we went to see a doctor, a specialist even at KKH, and we were told that it's impossible for you to have a child right now. So the word impossible was quite heartbreaking and demoralizing, right? But especially doctor, when the specialist looked at me and said, "You have to lose weight," lagi geram macam, But in about 1.5 months later, not long after he said impossible, 1.5 months later, while I was literally on stage like this at Expo, at the Forum Perdana, and my wife texted me and called me and like, come back. I said, "Why?" She said, "I think I'm pregnant," she said, right? So what happened during that period? What happened was we were constantly making lots of dua. So one of the duas that you can read is found in the Quran, where it is in the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, "Rabbi habli minas salihin," very short. "Rabbi habli minas salihin." Oh Allah, please grant me from amongst the righteous.
or the pious. Another dua, also very short, Rabbi habli min ladunka dhurriyatan tayyibah, innaka sami'ud du'a. My Lord, please grant me from you a good offspring. Verily you are the all-hearing of every invocation, of every dua. These du'as you can Google, you can find, inshallah. But in addition to that, what you can do also to strengthen this effort is to also try to fast. Puasa sunat tu jangan kita abaikan, boleh rajinkan sedikit, banyak puasa sunat, and anytime anyone you know is going for pilgrimage, umrah or hajj, ask them to make dua for you. So these are some of the things that you can do before. I've also had couples in the Bersamamu program, after 1.5 years, request, Ustaz, can we talk to you? So we did a Zoom call, and the wife was crying all the way. Why? Because Ustaz, I cannot get pregnant, and it's stressing me out. I'm trying to be calm about it, but in reality, I'm having a meltdown every other day. I can understand the pressure and the stress, especially from society, especially from family members who keep asking whenever they bump into you. Usually they are the same people where sebelum you kahwin, dia tanya, bila nak kahwin, right? Dah kahwin, bila nak anak, right? They're always checking in out of love, but it does affect you mentally and emotionally. But when you are together, that is the most important thing, right? What you need to have is having each other's back all of the time. I've always said that the most powerful and the most romantic thing you can do for your partner is to be there by their side and to just defend them whenever they are not there. When people ask, when people question, you are always there for each other. That's the most important thing, okay? That is what helps with resilience as a couple. Now, what about during the pregnancy itself? Okay, the role of a husband. I'm a father of 4, so I've gone through it a couple of times. But I can tell you that the first child and the second child experience is different. The third child is different. The fourth child is different. Why? Obviously, because by the time we were expecting the second one, we have another one in front of us that needs our attention, who's falling sick, who has to be taken out of childcare, and so on and so forth. By the time you have a third one lagi, fourth one lagi, right? And we never had a helper, throughout that period. Only after the fourth one, baru we like, okay lah, fine, we're going to get some help, But actually, there is a lot of beauty in the struggle, okay? Seriously, there is beauty in the struggle. You want to immerse yourself in the experience of being a parent. And this includes waking up in the middle of the night, and helping to prepare the milk, and helping to change the diapers, and helping to, I'm saying from the perspective of a husband and a father, okay? But even before, let's say, I remember the time really when finally my wife was pregnant, first child, I was actually nervous. I was nervous for a lot of things that were genuine and real, and also a lot of silly things. Like, in my opinion, it was silly. Like, I was wondering things like, hey, macam mana if, let's say, our child comes out and then maybe there's some disability and things like that, right? I thought of those things, and Alhamdulillah, I was comfortable enough to be vulnerable that I talked to one of our friends who got married before me and had a child before me, and I was like, hey, dulu kau nervous tak sebelum ada anak? Nervous. Do you think about these things? Yeah, aku fikir juga. It's nice to know that somebody else also thought about the same things. But again, after the first one, Alhamdulillah, was okay, then the next ones became a little bit easier, although there were some slight challenges. I remember there was one little scare. My wife is a teacher, and I'm pretty much working on my own time. I run my own things, So I remember there was one day when she was in school. Suddenly she texted me and called me and said, dear, I'm bleeding. She said, huh? This is in the middle of a pregnancy, probably 3 months, 4 months in, I'm bleeding. She said, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. She said, I don't know. She said, you want to go to the doctor? Yeah, let me ask permission from my HOD and then you can go. So I rushed to a school and we went to KKH immediately. But Alhamdulillah, it was nothing serious. But the significant part there is that when your spouse is worried, when your wife is scared about something, the best thing you can do is to just show up, to attend to them, to pick up the call, to respond, to ask what they need, to bring them where they want to go, right? And that is very important, I think, from a wife's perspective. You cannot just macam, alah, I'm sure it's nothing. Kan? Banyak ke sikit? Sikit, alah sikit je, tak ada apa-apa lah, darah tu mungkin kena gigit nyamuk ke apa, you know. Like you cannot belittle or make it look like it's insignificant, right? And the most, I say, unhelpful thing is for you to invalidate her concerns and worries. Attend to them, right? At least the first few times to hear her out and then talk to each other about it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ustaz. Did you have something to add, Zakia? Go ahead. Really struck a chord.
Yeah.
Every bit of the way. Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that.
Thank you, sir, for sharing that. And I think I just want to pick up what you said just now about being vulnerable. And I feel, and it's important for partners to be vulnerable with one another. Because when you're vulnerable, you're allowing the other person to hold you. Yeah, you're giving the opportunity for your partner to hold you and to really be there, show up, an opportunity for your partner to show up. So it's okay to be vulnerable. Please be. And for your partner to also be ready to hold. And I think this beautiful thing about what Ustaz mentioned just now about nampak macam sikit, but you just show up. I think the reason why maybe your wife maybe wanting that is because she felt that sakinah in your relationship. It doesn't matter. Just because Ustaz show up doesn't mean that the bleeding stop, the problem stop. No, it's just that when Ustaz show up, your wife must be feeling sakinah, must be feeling calm. And I think that's what we want in our relationship, sakinah. And I'm going to take this a few minutes because this is getting nerded out. Yes. I always tell these stories about to young couples, because in my free time I meet up with minor couples to explain to them what does sakinah, mawaddah and rahmah mean in a marriage. So sakinah, imagine, okay lah, in Singapore maybe we never experienced a tornado, but imagine a tornado. Okay, what happens in a tornado? All the trees, all the houses are all uprooted, right? As the wind goes out, everything, all chaos. But what do you think happened in the middle, in the eye of the tornado? Calm, stillness. And I think that's what sakinah really means, stillness. Does sakinah mean that, okay, so sakinah means when you see your partner's face, okay, stillness appear in your heart. So that's what we want. After a hard day at work, maybe there's some politics happening at work, challenges, not enough money perhaps, so many challenges happening like outside. But the moment you enter the house, the moment you see your kids, your partner, you feel stillness. That is sakinah. Does that mean that the problems outside disappear magically? No, it still appears. It still exists, right? But because of sakinah, you get respite. You get that kind of calmness and stillness that allow you to, okay, I'm ready for the world tomorrow. Yeah, so that's part of resilience, isn't it? Yeah. So and the thing about sakinah, right? It exists in all of you, because without it, you won't be together, right? You won't be choosing each other as your love partner. So sakinah exists in between all of you. And how do we continue having sakinah other than making dua? Because sakinah is something that Allah gives, right? So other than making dua, we also have to make effort. Yeah, okay. So all of you, please get the QR code, and you can get this these slides. Yes. Yes. So actually, to foster sakinah other than dua, there are efforts that you have to make. For example, foster open and honest communication, be vulnerable, right? Build trust and reliability. Okay, I'm just gonna explain a bit more some of the highlighted ones. For example, practice conflict resolution skills, avoiding blame. Because most of us are first-time parents. As first-timers, do you think we will make mistakes? We tend to make mistakes, right? We tend to, how to say, okay, I read some of the questions and comments that you guys time as you register, there's this thing that really came out. This parenting bongok, the bongok parenting. Yeah, it's not about bongok parenting. It's just that perhaps it's someone's first time parenting. Bangang parenting. Sorry, forgive my word. Yeah, bangang parenting. So it's not, I mean, perhaps it's a first timer. Yeah, your partner is a first timer, you are a first timer parent. So both of you are learning and studying, both of you tend to make mistakes. So as mistakes happen, have an attitude of, okay, what do we learn from this? And avoid blaming lah. Rather than blaming, you adopt this attitude of, okay, what can we learn to avoid this from happening again? Okay, and of course respecting each other's perspective lah, because all of us come from different household. The way you are being brought up is different from your partner's way of being brought up. So of course the way you are doing things will be different. So all the more you need to discuss and be honest, and also to be clear what are your expectations from one another. Okay, and another thing about quality time and connection. Lately, I've been receiving texts from a new father about I work shift. I work as an auxiliary police. I only come home at 11 p.m. How do I make time for my family? This reminded me because I used to be a full-time mom. I was a social worker in a family service center for 9 years, and then I took a break to become a full-time mom. And I realized when I was being a housewife, I noticed that during my housewife stint, I asked myself, hey, I miss my daughter, but she's right there sleeping in front of me. How come I miss her? Then I realized that, oh, during the day I was busy cooking, I was busy cleaning the house. I wasn't updated to her what's her favorite color at that moment of time. And then I was also I was in a reflective mode, and realized that when I was working in a family setting, in a family service center, we knocked out at about 6 p.m. 6:30. I was about to reach home when I received a crisis call from a client, and then I had to patah balik. I had to go back to where my client was, and then do my work, and then come back at 9:30 p.m. I was at a taxi because can claim. So I was at a taxi, and then I was like visibly tired, and the taxi driver was saying lah, oh ma'am, after this you can rest lah. And I remember specifically saying that, oh no, after this I have to play with my daughter. And I say it with excitement. I was looking forward to play with her. And then because she was supposed to sleep at 10:30, I came back, shower, and then for 5 minutes I played with her, and I can still remember that play until now. Yeah, so it shows that quality time doesn't mean that it has to be many time or it doesn't have to be a long time. Just because you stay home for a long period of time, just because this person is in front of you for 24 hours doesn't mean that is a quality time. It has to be intentional. You have to ensure that there is connection. Connection. And there's intent when you spend that quality time with someone. Okay.
I think we spent quite some time talking a bit about relationships, how to build family resilience, individual resilience. Maybe now is a good time I share a little bit more about how health, for example, health for the woman can help build resilience. Because, for example, when women want to get pregnant, are pregnant, they are the vessel that carries the pregnancy. And so if you are healthy yourself, we do believe that creates healthy offspring as well. So I think I'll just keep it short because there's so much more discussion to be had. But I think it starts from even preconception. Even the thought of wanting to be pregnant is about optimizing. Think about optimizing your health. And health is total health. Not just physical health, but also your mental, spiritual, emotional health as well. If you have medical problems, try to figure it out. Make sure that it's healthy and safe for you to start a pregnancy first. Consult who you need to get that under control and make sure that it's safe to start the pregnancy. Then optimize with folic acid, which is a vitamin you should take 1 to 3 months before starting to get pregnant. And also healthy diet, regular exercise, etc. During pregnancy, get your regular checks with the hospital, with the doctor, make sure you get scans. Because I know I do have not many, a few patients who like, zaman dulu, my grandparents didn't have any scans. Yes, but then there's a lot of things that we don't know about that time. Then the advancements were not there, and there are things that actually you can prevent in the health of your child had you gone for screening, had you gone for checks, etc. So I think it's good to not be averse to healthcare, but seek it at appropriate times so that you know your pregnancy is safe also. Because I feel like you do owe it to your offspring, not because I'm an obstetrician and I want you to come to see me. No, it's really that you owe it to your offspring that your offspring is healthy. Maybe through the pregnancy, you find that both you and your husband are genetic carriers, that even though you are not connected, that child carries that disease, for example, right? That you could have figured out. Then you want to help your future offspring. There are things that we can make a difference to for our family. So second and third trimester, make sure that you go for your regular checks. And I think something that I emphasize a lot, at least for myself and my patients, is just being happy. So we are sometimes so stressed, every time we get checked, some of my patients' blood pressures go really high because they are a bit scared to come into the hospital. There's some PTSD from previous pregnancies or being in the hospital. It's not comfortable for everyone, but just in general, if things are going smoothly, inshallah, tawakkal, and don't fret the small stuff. Generally, things can be figured out, and you just want to be happy because you don't want to be so stressed during the pregnancy. That stress, that adrenaline, somehow will carry through to you, your labor, your journey, your pregnancy, your family, etc. Your spouse. And just the last bit is towards the end. Just think about what your ideal labor and delivery is. It's very important and it's a very individualized journey. And just remember that what you want for yourself is not necessarily what others want for you, and it's your personal journey. Many of us want a normal delivery, but it is not the safest option for everyone. So I think just having that grace and understanding that it's your personal journey that you and your spouse, your family is going through, and helping others to understand that is important also. Because, for example, you come in and then you have a very, very fixed idea. I'm going to have a normal delivery. It's only going to be normal. It's nothing else. I'm going to go through everything, and this is cesarean section is not an option, not on the cards. Never ever will I do this. It's not the way it was intended. Then at the end, right, you're setting yourself up actually, because to be honest, 20 to 30% of people end up having a cesarean, and it's not a failure. It's not that you have a cesarean. It's not the right way. It's the safest way, and the outcome is actually mom, baby safe. So I think anyone who has been my patient, I end up saying this quite a lot. Safety, at the end of the day, it will be beautiful if you left the hospital with your baby. It will be beautiful that you are safe and your baby is safe, and that's it. And if the option is not a cesarean section, it's not a normal delivery, then that's the best option for you. And also, I think families can help build this resilience. So I'm almost ending, but then how do families build this resilience is be kind to everyone, because everyone's going through their own journey. And I think when you come in to visit somebody after they have delivered, just remember that it's nice to ask people how they are, right? It brings back a lot, because I have patients crying in my clinic because they feel a failure. And I don't feel that having a cesarean section is a problem actually. So I think just be kind to each other and maybe ask, if you care, just ask, how was your delivery actually? Instead of, was it a normal delivery? Did you end up in a cesarean? Did you use an epidural? This can be quite hurtful for the person who's going through it. So I think just remember that we care about our families and we want them to be safe, and that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. Thank you so much for that honest sharing. Actually, I wanted to share that Dr. Dilshad herself just gave birth to her second child.
That explains the emotions.
That's why all the emotions are coming up from there. Totally agree with you. The safety of the mother and the baby is of utmost importance. Yeah, and there's no adverse effects on the child from whatever mode of delivery. The most important is the baby is happy. Yeah.
I mean, motherhood is a whole other thing. We're probably not going to talk about it, but it's very different being an obstetrician and a mom. I think there are some things in your life that okay, if you study this, you do this, you put in A effort, you get B outcome. It's very clear. And then I think parenthood just changes all of that. You put in A effort, you may not get B outcome, then instead you get a Z, and you're like, okay, where do we start? Let's go back again, and it can throw things off. So just try to help each other. I think would be what's important. Um, anybody else wants to share about resilience? Well, are we good on time actually? Yes, okay, we're perfect. Anyone else wants to share about who we can seek help from? Maybe Ustaz, anyone we can seek help from if we find that we are in periods of difficulty.
We can share a question that just came up to Ustad. I think SAHD is stay-at-home dad, is it? Okay. Being a stay-at-home dad feels like a thankless job compared to those who go out to work and bring in visible money. So it feels like resilience comes from within, but I can feel myself breaking under my own self-expectations and view of my own self-worth. Wow.
Thank you for the question. I think, what's the word he used? It feels like what did he describe?
Feels
Thankless.
thankless.
So usually a thankless job, usually moms feel this. I think what the guy is feeling is something slightly different. As a man, we attach our self-worth to our ability to bring in income, to provide for the family. When that basic ability is taken away from us, then that's where our self-worth, self-esteem is all taken away as well. So, do I get this question a lot? Yes. Nowadays, without a doubt, women are, mashallah, there are so many more female graduates. There are a lot of women in the workforce, right? And I have even met couples in workshops like this during the break. They come to me and say, Ustad, my wife earns 4 times more than I do, and she doesn't like to cook. She's not great with the kids. She admits this, and the wife beside him was like, yeah. And then, but I love doing all of that. Can I stay at home? And then she goes and make the dough. And then I say, only if both of you mutually agree this, she is not being forced, and you are okay with this. But there is a condition. The condition is that if at any point she chooses to quit, you cannot say, oh no, we agree already, you have to work, find another job, whatever. You cannot. The default responsibility is always on the husband. In fact, later at 2 o'clock, I have an event called the Nafka Conversation. We're going to talk about all of this more in depth. It's not just about the money, but also the emotional aspects of it and the mental ability to understand your new role, right? Things are not the same anymore nowadays. Every household is a dual income household almost in Singapore. Just now she was mentioning about how parents are always busy, right? Zakia mentioning about how both parents are very busy. I can totally relate to that. And my wife is a full-time employee, and I run my business almost 7 days a week. And we were tested many times. So I have first one girl, the middle 2 boys, the last one girl. Okay. So the 2 boys ni, mashallah, the ujian dia luar biasa. Okay. So all the best to parents of boys. But the ujian ni apa tau? They tend to fall sick a lot actually. So these boys, they picked it up from me, doctor, to be honest. I had febrile seizure a lot fits when I was young. Not a lot, I had maybe 2, 3 times. But my boys, each of them had like more than 10 times. More than 10 times. The second one, the second boy had more. And in the first few times, we were very, we were panicking, we were not sure. We called the ambulance. So I had many ambulance rides in my lifetime as a dad. But I think what we learned was resilience. That was a lesson, like to be strong as a parent, to be strong for each other, to be there for our child was so critical in that phase of being a parent. But going back to the busyness, like we don't have time, I totally agree with Zakia that I look forward to the 15 minutes or 20 minutes to put my kids to sleep. Favorite moment. Because that is the time, in fact, you will learn this also when your kids come back from school, you fetch them, you ask them, how was your day? They have nothing to say. But usually before putting them to sleep is when they share everything and you want them to stop talking, go sleep. They want to share some more. My friend did this, my teacher said that. So actually it's the moment that I look forward to the most. They are more talkative, more expressive, and that's literally the time you only have left. Because I work long hours and I come back. But I also want to touch on the no blaming part also just now. I remember one time, we only had, I think we had the 3rd child, Baru just came out with the 3rd child. And I came back home. I remember the scene, it was complete chaos. The house looked like like a tornado just happened, in the house. And I called my wife and she didn't respond, And I saw in the kitchen, the milk punya tin and the scoop, and it was a complete mess. Like, I don't think my wife did this. And true enough, it was my daughter who was probably 4 at the time, 4+5. She helped to make the milk for the second child, the brother, because my wife was KO with the third one. My wife didn't, penat gila lah, breastfeeding and everything semua like. And still, I think probably in confinement phase, probably that time, I can't remember. So I cannot just come back and scold my wife. What do you do? Never check, look at what happened, blah, blah. You have to understand that sometimes, they go through a phase of complete fatigue and burnout that is unimaginable, right? So you cannot do that. But here's the thing also, wife also cannot always just blame the husband, right? If they are trying their best, then you should appreciate. So here's the powerful thing you can do for your husbands, okay? Just thank them for the smallest things. You want them to do more, thank them. Seriously, they will be more than happy to do more, because sometimes we forget. So just now when he said thankless, all he wants is just a thank you. Thank you, I noticed you clean the room. Thank you, I noticed you cleared the trash. Just clearing the trash is literally just taking something and putting it away. Yes, they acknowledge that, and he will be more than happy to do so much more than that. Okay? So being there for each other, once again, should never be underestimated, and just acknowledging each other's efforts also is very powerful.
Thank you, Ustaz. Is there something you would have done differently? So now looking back on your 4 children and your journey through fatherhood, parenthood, is there something you wish you had learned or you had done differently, or you would have done better, for example?
What we could have done better is have more conversations about our parenting styles. Okay, so this is what I now tell my couples now. So you have to understand, okay? Both of you were raised in different households, and your parents both had different styles of raising you, different styles of disciplining you. And so you may have grown up thinking, okay, when I have my own kids, I will do exactly this because it will work for me. Or I will do the complete opposite because I hated the way my parents disciplined me, right? And then you thought that your spouse would be on the same page. Lo and behold, complete opposite. This is always the test. Like, you sayang your child, your spouse is like, no, go hard on them, be firm so that they don't repeat the same thing again. And there will always be this clash. To me, it's okay to have some slight differences, but you need to be aware of your partner's preferred method of talking to the child, educating the child, instilling spiritual values in the child, molding them with proper akhlaq, good akhlaq and character, and also disciplining the child and correcting them. I remember the time when we were going out Jalan Hari Raya, so ramai lah, family, cousins and everything. And my child, one of them, I think, fell and cried like crazy, And all I did was I kneeled down and I just opened my arms, and my son just went to me. She was probably at 2 years old, and I just hugged him until he stopped crying. And then it was normal for me, but my cousin saw us like, wow, it's amazing what you just did there, because I would have never done that. I would either scold or tell the child to stop crying, like it's no biggie, But we learn along the way, and every child is different, by the way. All of my 4 children, ya Allah, semua lain-lain. You thought, okay, why we decided on having the second child was because we thought, okay lah, I think we got the hang of it already lah. I think we know how to become parents. Sekali, ya Allah, lain betul. So my second child now, alhamdulillah, he just finished his PSLE, he's 12 now. Going through PSLE is so different with the first child daughter and the second child son, okay, by the way. Like, our daughter can study on her own, no need to check on her, barely had any tuition. The second one, we threw everything at him. 4 tuition sessions, and he's very chill and relaxed, don't care. Yeah, so you will go through those phases, but it makes you a better person. It makes you better spouses, especially when you talk to each other about how you should raise every single child.
Okay, thank you, Ustaz. Yeah. I agree. I think just checking in with each other and having a discussion about how different your parenting styles are would be something quite important. Now, Zakia, sometimes the whole idea of being resilient can become very hard. What do you think we can do when actually just being resilient is not enough?
It's easier when people say that you can choose to be happy. Choose to be happy. Not every time people can just switch and be happy. Sometimes, yes, happiness is a choice. Resilience is something that you can build up. However, if things get difficult, right? Especially when you have past trauma, you have past hurt that you are still healing from. So sometimes, yes, it can be tough. That's when you need to be, how to say, be honest enough with yourself. To ask yourself, is this time for me to seek help? And it's okay, to seek help. Seeking help is a form of resilience. It is a form of strength. Yeah. So yes, to be truthful enough to recognize signs when you need support, and then when in doubt, always seek support early. Because when you seek support early, more things can be done, inshallah. And then who to seek from? Okay, you have your night Qadi, okay, and I'm sure you have their phone numbers because you met them during face to face. You can always contact them first. Okay, our night Qadis are trained, inshallah, right? And they know where to refer you to, should they are unable to assist you. Okay, so that's one. Number two, there are social workers around, family service centers around that you can always go to seek help, to seek counseling. And there's also polyclinics circulating if you need assessment, especially mental health assessment. Okay, I'll give you in detail more things. For example, FAM, Strengthening Families Program. Should you need counseling, you have the website. Okay, so you can go to this particular website, and then it will link you to MSF. So they will. You just have to put down your postal code to know where is the nearest FAM center. Okay, and from there they will link you up to a counselor. Okay. On that note also, let me just tell you a bit more about postnatal depression, which is very, very important. I see a lot of pregnant mummies here, okay? And also, that is your role is to observe and to support, okay? A very important role. Okay, what is PND or postnatal depression? It is something that occurs after birth. Sometimes before birth also you can see. Always crying, but typically after birth, okay, few weeks, sometimes within days you can see already. So what happened exactly during postnatal depression when the lady, the woman has this persistent feelings of sadness, okay, emptiness, low energy, difficult to bond with baby. Just because you have one of these doesn't mean that you have PND, okay? This is the thing about mental health. The doctor need to prescribe you whether you have PND or not. So especially in mental health, there needs to be a pattern lah. Okay, so but these are the key features of PND. Okay, why it happens? It is, I mean, it's not fully understood. Doctors are still trying to understand why PND happens in women, but what the current understanding is that it is a combination of hormonal changes, emotional adjustments, stress, possibly lack of support, or perhaps previous mental health issues. Yeah, so there's a lot of combination. That's why not one person can truly, diagnose with this. I mean, a doctor perhaps has to understand your history, your hormones, in order for the mental health professional to diagnose you. Okay, so the impact of PND is that it can affect the relationship, not only the mother-child relationship but also couple relationship. So it's important to get it treated. How? Okay, actually you can identify it by yourself, because again there's a QR code. You can go to this website. Is a local website, but the question is from Edinburgh. It's Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale. It's only 10 questions, some administered question. For example, I just give teaser only lah, 5 question. The question is, in the past 7 days, have you been feeling all these situations? And if you say yes, 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 if it's a lot of yes, then please go to polyclinic.
Yeah. Thank you, Zakia. I think it's good to have a bit of guidance as to where to go to seek help if you need it. Not all of us will need this professional help, but I think being brave to take the first steps as a couple to seek help, I think is very, very important for yourself as well as your family. So it's not just about let's be positive, because sometimes that's just not enough. So we do need help sometimes. Apart from that, Dr. Adila, what do you think are some things that we can do to prepare ourselves for baby's arrival? What can we do?
I think we can touch about infant mental health since we're talking about mental health. Infant mental health is quite a new concept. So the baby also can suffer from mental health issues, and how does this happen? So remember I told you about the first 1,000 days of life, right? Where the brain is forming all these new connections. So when the brain is continually exposed to stress, and what kind of stress can a baby have? So for example, if there's domestic violence in the family, if there's unpredictability, because young kids, they thrive on routine. So if let's say there's multiple changes of caregiver or even neglect, okay, so what the brain does is that it attunes itself to be very reactive, hyper-reactive. And when that happens, right, then the brain cannot adapt as well. And this actually puts the child at risk of developing their own mental health issues when they're older. And because they are exposed to all this stress, they cannot thrive. Because children need that secure attachment with their parents, with their caregivers, in order to thrive and to learn, to explore. So when their learning ability is affected in this very crucial development period, then they cannot develop the skills to learn later on in life. So this may actually set them up for school failure, for social difficulties, communication difficulties. And this, unfortunately, may even last the entire human lifespan, because that's when your basic foundation is actually set. So this is why I always emphasize on the first 1,000 days. Okay. So actually, when we're sort of like drafting this, we talked about preparing for baby, right? And then in my mind, there's always two big areas. Number one, what is the equipment that you need to have? Number two, how are you going to prepare your family, yourself, to nurture this child the best as you can? So we talked a lot about nurturing the baby, and here I have this slide to show you even more about how important it is to actively engage with the baby to strengthen that early parent-child bonding. But just some practical things that we have time.
Yeah, we do. I think if I can share a little bit about this responsive caregiving, I think some people have this false assumption that, oh, if you're intelligent, you will have intelligent offspring. So actually, you don't need intelligent parents to be intelligent. The responsive caregiving is this serve and return relationship. So I give you something. If me and my spouse, we look at each other, there's a smile, that was serve and return. I wanted that, I got that from my spouse. Exactly the same in children. And don't think that I know I have got this figured out myself. I'm also consistently learning. But I think we think a lot about like our child. Our child drops something and sees the reaction and then looks up at us as a parent. What's our reaction, So then initially, remember when in the days that our kid is cute and cuddly, it's like, oh, you dropped the spoon on the floor, okay, in the meal 10 times. Then at 4 years old, you're like, pick up the spoon. Yeah. So, but at least there's a reaction. That's what they wanted actually. So even if we were angry and we respond positively, the child gets that return reaction. So I think for me, myself, as a parent, and for us all as parents and caregivers to think about what our phone usage around our children can make a difference with. And that's something I'm trying to figure out myself. I'm picking up, trying to respond to work, trying to reply to my family, etc. Then in front of the child who maybe is doing something to us completely pointless, very simple, maybe becomes mundane, like picks up a bed, drops and looks up at us, and then consistently gets this parent on the phone. So I think that's something we all can work towards as together as a society, just being more present in that 5 minutes interaction that we have. It may not mean much, but over time makes the child feel like they were not facing just somebody on the screen, on the phone, that maybe internalizes that's more important to my parent than me. So I think that's very, very important to be consistently responsive And I think that can develop them a lot. But
Thank you
yes,
for the real life example.
yeah, I mean, that's something I think about a lot. Oh no, what's my child looking at when I'm texting? Then I'll be like, okay, I must run away and text first, and then, but then it's not possible. The phone rings and oh yeah, so.
You don't actually see they get upset when you are looking at your phone and you're trying to tell. Yeah.
So I've noticed something also when I think this has become a meme on some social media accounts. When the child is talking to my child is talking to my wife, and my wife is in the middle of work or she's texting, I internally get annoyed that how can she not look at the child? And then my wife has done that to me also, like, hey, look, so the no blame thing is very important. Like you need to understand and maybe bring the child away for a while and like, hey, come show me. I'm free, talk to me, right? It could be even like signing something, because now when they are bigger, they ask for you to sign stuff. So remember, you are a team, right? You are a team. Your child doesn't know any better. They don't know that you have different views, different opinions, different styles, different methods. They just see you as my mom and my dad. They are both my parents. So they kind of expect a certain level of consistency. Okay. If I may touch on consistency and inconsistencies for a moment. Okay, so when both of us, right, husband and wife, we both expect consistency from each other. But the consistency and inconsistencies are a bit different. I'll give you an example, okay? So, as a husband, right, when we ask our wife what she wants, right, and then she says something, and then you thought next week it will be the same thing, but maybe she's not feeling it, and then you get very confused. But I thought, you wanted this or you like this, right? And maybe she's not. So you get a bit confused. Now, it's gonna get a lot more fun, guys, when she's expecting and her hormones are all over. And then the postnatal thing as well. So you need to be very ready mentally to not always expect that things are going to be consistent from your to your liking in your perspective. Okay. For the wife pula, and when you look at your husband and you want them to be consistent, I don't think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's so much the specifics. You want them to be consistent in showing up. You want them to be consistent in putting effort. You want them consistent in, like she said, checking in. It's like the general stuff, but as long as I know my husband is trying, my husband is showing up, my husband is there for me, my husband is working around the house. Because the Prophet ﷺ was described as he was always, in the khidmah of his family, fi mihnati ahli. He was always there, showing up, supporting household chores, always available, always ready. So I think that's in general the example that we can follow, right? And I know it's tiring, right? I know it's tiring. I remember then when I was a kid, either my cousins come over to my house to play, or I go to my cousin's place to play. I always wonder, kenapa when I go, my uncle is always sleeping. And when my cousins come over, my dad is sleeping. And I think it's around my age now. I realize, man, I need afternoon naps too, man. Sekarang macam dah tua. But it's so, power naps are so underrated, like it helps a lot. Ustaz Ahmad betul tak? Ustaz Ahmad betul tak? Ustaz Ahmad especially dia tengok Champions League football, jadi dia ngantuk. But, like half an hour power naps are so powerful. You kind of need that. So if your wife needs that, let her. If you need that, inform your wife, seek permission. I need half an hour. Can you just not disturb me? Bring the kids out. Wow, you wake up refreshed and you have more energy to entertain the kids.
Thank you very much, Ustaz. Is there anyone on the panel who has any burning last thoughts to share? Okay. Yeah, I think with resilience and emotional resilience, family resilience, it is a very long-term endeavor. You start from when you are building that relationship together and then building a family together, and it should be lifelong. It's a continued journey, daily struggle or effort on both parts. And I think, inshallah, this is something that we can all work towards. So thank you very much, all of us panelists. I think we can just straight away move on to Q&A. Is there anyone in the audience who has any questions for us, who wants to share some story, anything at all? If not, we have quite a few online. Okay. If there's anyone along the way, you have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we will go on to the ones online. And also, those here, please type in. You're a bit shy with the questions as well.
Anyone has live questions? In the meantime, we'll try to figure this out. Okay.
Sometimes it's just about the first person asking. After that,
Yeah, so basically, parents of 2 and 1 more kid coming up.
First child. Second one is still young, it's still within the 1,000 days, so I still look at some hope. But for the first one, she's 4. And there's this guilt in us that we have not done enough for the first one, which is we're trying to tell ourselves every time that it's okay, you know, it's the guinea pig era, the first time parenting, but it can be very painful, especially for my wife, because she's a woman. And yeah. So how do we have that mindset to move on from this and to make it, you know, like to have the mindset that, you know, we can, it's not too late or something, because hearing all those things, it's a bit scary also for parents who already have kids, have not practiced certain things. Yeah.
1,000 days. So 1,000 days is the time the baby is first conceived. There was a question about it, just to clarify. And thank you so much for your sharing. And I always tell my patients, because a lot of them come with things, you know, guilt, mom guilt or dad guilt, things they read on the internet, did I do enough, did I not do enough? I remember all these are guidelines. So of course, if we know it early and we try to practice it, then that's great. But never feel guilty. Okay, I think whatever you do for your second child, your first child will benefit for sure. And remember, it's not just about the 1,000 days, but what you also do beyond that 1,000 days. It's about setting the stage right, but continuing on. I think what's the persistence, maintenance. That's the key.
I think, yeah, we all feel that way. Because every child, we kind of miss out on something. And for me, it's a bit different now, brother, because the first child, she had all the attention. There were no disturbances, you know. But I think, we realized, I think the third or fourth one, we forgot some, even the vaccinations, like, hey, did we do for this one? Oh no, you know? Like, we got so busy, overwhelmed. But I think the first one, not so much. I think she was the most blessed. But I think now, okay, this might happen. Once you focus so much on the second or the third one, the first one will feel a bit neglected. Yeah. So I think that balance is tough. It's a very tough one. And talking about asking for attention just now, like they cry, like they whatever. Now it's happening with the youngest son, number 4. She's already 8 and she's still like every little thing, abang did this, kakak, it is like, you know. But the last one always manja like that, right? So the guilt, I think my take on this is it's never too late. It's never too late. How old is 4? 4, you've still got a long way. I think they are still developing a lot up to the 7, 8 years old. You still got a lot of time to give that child whatever she needs, he or she needs, whether it's your time, attention, or even giving them extra education, enrichment. By all means, if that's what you think they need, then give it to that child. Okay, it's never too late.
I think also be kind to yourself, because it actually, maybe if you think very hard, there's not a lot that you feel you didn't do. But then I feel like with time, a lot of our memories get blurred, and then when we look back, we think I didn't do so many things that this second one or third one has. But just remember, no one child in the same family of same parents has the same parent. We are all in different phases of our life, learning different things along different way. And I think the intention to be a good parent is the one that is supposed to be the overarching thing. And actually, instead of that blurry memory of what you think you did wrong, write down. Discuss with your husband, write it down. What did I wish I did for the first one? And then these 5 things, for example, take step by step and actionable. So if I whack my first one and I wish I didn't, but I'm not doing it the second one, how do I stop hitting the first one, for example, if that's the thing that I feel that was done wrongly? And actually each bit can be actionable and not too late to change. One example is, I mean, this is a very non-emotional example, but screen time. Say I let my first one all the screen time during meals because I just want the food to go in, for example. Then suddenly I woke up and realized I don't want screen times during the meal. The first week, you're gonna have battle a lot of crying, right? Crying and crying and crying, but you have to patiently wait through that because you want the outcome, which is no screen time during the meal. So what I mean to say is that it's going to be very difficult to change what you're very, very used to doing. But then write it down, make it actionable, and try to work a little bit. Takes a pocket of time that mommy goes out with number one alone to spend that bonding time, even as simple as going to the library and then reading some books together without number 2 and number 3 can make that one feel very special. And it's simple. It takes 2 hours out of your day, but then your number 1 feels super special because number 2 didn't tag along. Actually, it could just be as simple as that. Then instead of you being guilty, and then sometimes the guilt can become such a big barrier that we cannot overcome it. I'm so guilty, I'm so guilty, I'm the worst, I'm the worst, I'm the worst. And then you just have nothing actionable. So write down exactly what you wish you did, and then don't wish anymore. Do it. Yeah, I think that would be something that you can work together with.
Tomorrow is a new day, a new you, right?
For Zakia, but before that, we have so much content, we don't have time to share, right? All these screen time guidelines, for example, how to discipline your kids, how to toilet train, blah, 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 all available on the Project ARIF website, okay? So, we're busy. Okay, there's a question for Zakia. I read living with our parents and in-laws sometimes makes us feel less like a parent because they tend to overdo things in the name of helping. So it's like the feeling is that the child is spending more time with them and being brought up. Yeah.
This is a very common and also how to say it's a dance that requires a lot of sensitivity because you want to have a positive relationship with your parents and parents-in-laws. Yeah. So the way you speak to them, the way you set boundaries with them requires a lot of tact and consistency. Because we're dealing with parents, parents you cannot expect them to change overnight. You can't. Yeah, but you can change, right? So number 1, you have to be a team. That's my as a social worker, that's my recommendation. You have to be a team. You have to have the same message. You have to have the same principle. Means that you need to know how you want to parent your child, right? The tricky thing about being Singaporean parent is that you co-stay, you co-live with your parents. Because this is your child, but you're living under the same room with your parent. So whose rule? So this is where space and place comes. It has to play a role. Yes, it's your parents' house. The moment the child enters your room, then you may have to maybe enforce or maybe shows start doing your the boundary, your parenting rule, your parenting practices. You can start. But once the child is outside with your with your parents or parent-in-laws, it's a bit difficult lah. I have to admit, it's a bit difficult to intervene because you do not want to interfere with the bond between your parents and your own child, because your parents, the child grandparents is part of his or her system. you want to bank on that relationship, because the kind of relationship that your child has with his or her grandparents will shape him or her. The way you relate to your parents, your child is going to observe the way you relate to them. So highly recommend to get your own place. However, I understand it's tough, it takes some time, but given that context, you create your own boundary. Yeah, because sometimes you still have to inform your parents that certain, for example, certain food. For example, you want to breastfeed, you want to fully breastfeed, but then your mom may have a different your mom may have a different opinion. Oh, tak cukup lah, not enough lah. Let me supplement. So that part you may have to step in and you say, I'm so sorry, but this is my child. I have the intention to fully breastfeed the child. So gently and be firm and gentle, inform your parent that this is what you intend. And then you have to be consistent lah, monitor. It's tough. This is quite a tricky and tough situation, but this is the guidelines that we will.
Thank you, Zakia. I think also the husband's role here is very, very important. Just be a partner, be a team, and help fend off your parents when the daughter-in-law is struggling. Yeah, so I think just working together as a team.
Forget that parents also mean well. So I think it's about balancing. Yeah.
We have a next question. The next question is for Ustaz. The person says, I'm really trying my best and I'm doing the best that I can, but how do you help? Can you help me guide them towards the deen? What advice would you give?
I think the question specifically was the father does not feel like he's the right person to guide the child. And I think it's normal. Nobody here feels like they're perfect, right? That they know everything. And don't assume that just because he's an ustaz, I'm an ustaz, we are better, you know. Because at the end of the day, everything needs to, okay, like how do I begin this? Okay, let's begin with the fact that all of us are on a journey. We are all trying to develop and trying to become a better person. And that involves investing your time in seeking knowledge. So I tell all of my couples the same thing. We have to invest in knowledge now. And I'm talking to the couples before they got married. When I asked them when was the last time you belajar agama, they said, primary 6, weekend madrasah. Do you remember anything? Cannot remember anything. I know how to ngaji, Ustaz. Okay, good. But that's not the only thing you need. You need more than that. You need ilmu agama. You need the actual essential knowledge. How to practice, what is the meaning behind this, and why we do what we do. And that is a journey. You don't need to do everything. The moment the child is there, alamak, I don't know a lot of things. No. You still got a long way to go, right? Because the child is still developing themselves. Okay? So here's the thing that you can try to do. Commit yourself once a month. Now imagine how many classes you can go to in a year's time. In 1 year, when you meet me again, you're going to tell me, we went to 12 events. Isn't that a lot? It's a lot compared to 0 in the last 10 years. So you need to make this commitment between husband and wife. Okay, are we agreeable that we are going to buy this house? Yes, she said, ma'am. Are we agreeable that we are going to save up this amount of money? Yes. Are we agreeable that we're going to stay in touch with our parents-in-law so they don't feel excluded? Yes. Are we agreeable that we're going to go on this spiritual journey together as well? Seek knowledge? Yes. So you have a lot of things. Just now there were some diagrams. Set up your own diagram. These are the areas that we prioritize. Okay, it cannot be agama ni, religion. It cannot be something that when it's convenient, we go lah. When we have time, we go lah. Cannot. If you do that, I've seen couples, they plan so many things. But 10 years later, they say, Ustaz, we are nowhere. We're still where we started, you know, in terms of our ilmu agama. So make the commitment right now. There are so many ways for you to learn, so many ways for you to seek knowledge. In Singapore, we are such a small country, but we have a vibrant Muslim community. Every week you cari aja, every mosque mesti ada something, right? And nowadays you have a lot of asatizah who are available, they can come to you. They can do online, right? So you have English, you have Malay, you have free, you have paid ones, you have structured, you have ad hoc. No more complaints. If you tell me right now, Ustaz, I don't know where to go. I say to you, just Google, please. You know, just follow one or two Ustaz or Ustazah on social media, enough. Seriously, there are so many options available. So going back to you, do not have to feel bad that you don't know a lot. You know, you are the one that your child will look up to the most. Even before you send them to any weekend madrasah, you are the first. Set a good example. So seek knowledge is one. Number two is practice together. Something very basic that I'm very sad to hear sometimes that couples do not do is they do not pray together. Because I've seen a woman come to me, 10 years married, 15 years married, she says, my husband and I have never prayed Jama'ah together, not even once. Every time I pray in the living room, he go and pray in the room. I pray inside the room, he go to the kitchen and makan. He go and pray. Like, they're avoiding each other. I don't understand why. You're not setting a good example. What you want is a family that eats together, a family that prays together, a family that goes through hardship together. You cannot just be there during the fun times. You need to be there. You're building the core principles and values of your marriage. This is the culture, right? So if you continuously go to the mosque like today, you bring your young ones here, eventually they get used to the environment. They say, wow, my parents always bring me here. There must be something important, something valuable about it. Hey, I see my parents always praying together. There must be some significance in praying. That's why they always do it together. And your knowledge is important because when the child is about 3 to 4 years old, they're going to ask questions like, who is Allah? Right? And then when they are like 6 or 7, they're like, why do we pray? And then when they're a bit older, they're like, what do I read? And then it gets harder, right? When they're 13 and 14. But all of that can be easily settled if you invest in yourself right now with the right kind of knowledge, inshallah. Thank you.
I think with that, we've probably come to an end of our discussion. Thank you very much, Ustaz. Thank you, Dr. Adela, Zakia. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'll hand over to our MCs.
Thank you. Thank you, panelists. I think that was very, very insightful. We spent quite a bit of time. Where Ustaz even with the doctor bilang pun about losing weight, but you still do the puasa sunat, so lose weight juga lah. Right, so right, so yeah, the power of the puasa sunat tu, on top of obviously Allah listening to you, right? You lose weight lah, right? It's easy, save money. Okay, I would like to invite Dr. Susanna, our ARIF leader, to give us a closing remarks for the end of the day.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I actually had a speech, but I think I myself feel very overwhelmed. Actually, we started ARIF 5 years ago with a very small group of people, and we started off with helping newlyweds. We didn't have children yet, didn't have big families coming, but I'm very, very grateful that today we have a lot of you here because you are a part of the community. Our objective was to teach you to improve health literacy and to work together with the religious aspect and the spiritual part of it. So I think you being here is a commendation on your side. It's an achievement and it's a success on our side. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for believing in this, believing in Project ARIF, and believing in yourselves. And you coming with your family, with your children, speaks a lot as what you says earlier on today. I'd like to thank Masjid Ghufran for having us, for allowing us to have this connection. But I actually would like to thank a very important individuals, a group of individuals. So people behind the scenes who have actually reached out to you in many ways, in one way or the other in the last 5 years. I'm going to call them one by one. And I just want you, as what we mentioned today, it's just about thanking them and hopefully that they are given the opportunity to continue this project subsequently thereafter. I'm going to call them one by one. I've got a list because I worry that I'm going to miss some of them. So I'm going to start with the project manager, Zul Iqmal Zulkifli. Azri Muhammad, who is actually our IT and admin. It's going to be followed by our medical social workers, Siti Zakia, Siti Munawara Ma'ruf, Abida Yahya. So today is Abida's last event with us. She is going to be following on to moving to KKH. You will also see her as a medical social worker there. The medical team from KK Hospital, Dr. Nur Adila Ahmad Atik, pediatrician, Dr. Muhammad Fairuz Abdul Rahman, obstetrician and gynecologist, Dr. Dilshad Kadir, obstetrician and gynecologist. Our nursing team from KK Hospital, Shakira Khalik from ONG, and also Sister Nazima Sani from pediatrics. We also have Fatin Inshira, our research coordinator. From the east, we got Nur Shafina Muhammad Fauzi. Shahrul is also part of the team, but he's unable to attend today. Last but not least, our master trainer, who is Ustaz Ahmad Kushairi, who has left us for RYMM, but will always be important part of Project ARIF. And last but not least, Ustaz Tajuddin. So this is to introduce to you the team behind the scenes. And of course, we will not be who we are today without all of you. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to end. Thank you very much, Ustaz Lizzie, for making time for us. Thank you very much to everybody here who has made our day-to-day effect. We will hang around later for any of you who wants to, of course, with Abida, being her last day here, and of course with the rest of us. So I'm going to hand over to Ustaz Tajuddin to end with our closing.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Susanna. Let us end with a dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'di tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'al fina shaqiyyan wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Oh Allah, bless our family with patience and love. Strengthen our hearts through challenges, and guide us to always care for our bodies, our minds, our soul with gratitude and meaning. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Let us end with Asbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallah bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wa la asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Okay, so please stay. We will be taking one picture from the stage. Okay, we need people at the side to actually stand at the back row, stand up because tak nampak. So back row stand up, try to congregate on the middle, kumpul at the middle.